Good morning.
Oh,
Good morning, ma'am.
some more good mornings. Let me hear.
Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
As if
morning,
I'm
ma'am.
giving lecture to
Good
some
morning,
people
ma'am.
sitting in
Ma'am.
an empty room talking, isn't it? Please say some more people. Let's hear some more good mornings. At least cheer me up. I'm sitting in an empty room with no electricity, nothing. Okay, no fan also
Good morning,
because
ma'am.
transformer
Good morning, ma'am.
has gone off. So it's a little
Good
uncomfortable.
morning, ma'am.
Yeah, morning. Okay, so today you can see the topic cancer. All right, so cancer, what you can expect is there are 2 to 3 topics, short note, which you can have. So as I go along the lecture, I will tell you when those topics come that this can be a short note question or this can be a long question. Okay, so this I keep on doing with every lecture that I keep on telling you along the lecture that this is a short note topic or this is a long question topic. So cancer, I'll just have a short this thing is basically a group of diseases. There is bottom line is there's an abnormal growth of cells, right? So these abnormal growth, these cells, they have the ability to invade adjacent tissues and distant organs. This eventually leads to death of the affected patient if the tumor has progressed beyond that stage when it cannot be successfully removed. So mutation inactivates a tumor suppressor gene. Here, like any other non-communicable disease, there is multiple causation. It's a web of causation. So genetic mutation, bottom line is again genetic mutation happens. So this mutation, what are the things which trigger it off? That we will just talk about. So what are the things which trigger it off? So mutation leads to inactivation of tumor suppressor genes, and then this leads to cell to proliferate without any control. So then the DNA repair gene is also inactivated. This results in cells which divide without any control, and they have the ability to invade the nearby tissues or even metastasize. So it is characterized by an abnormal mass of tissue, the growth of which exceeds and is uncoordinated. It is growth exceeds then the normal tissue, and it is uncoordinated with that of normal tissues. And even after the removal of the cessation of the stimuli, removal of the stimuli, it still persists in the same excessive manner. Now there are two varieties. There is benign, and all of you know about these things. I'm just for a short recollection. Benign and malignant. Benign ones, they grow slowly. They remain localized, and usually they do. That is why they don't experience difficulty. They don't have invasive metastatic properties, and the histological appearance does not show any aberrant mitosis and invasive erosion of the surrounding tissues. The benign ones become problematic only when they have pressure changes on the nearby organs, or if it is pressing on a nerve or a blood vessel, then it becomes a problem. Otherwise, most of them are just they do not cause any health issues to a patient. Whereas malignant tumors, they proliferate very rapidly and abnormally. They spread throughout the body so relentlessly that unless treated, they eventually cause death. So they are of clinical importance, obviously more clinical importance, because inherently, even if it is a small one, it has the ability to spread throughout the body. Now the categories, what are the categories? They are carcinomas, sarcomas, lymphomas, myelomas, and leukemias. Carcinomas are which arise from the epithelial cells lining the internal surfaces of various organs, example mouth, esophagus, intestines, uterus, etc. Sarcomas are those which arise from mesothelial connective tissue, example fibrous tissue, fat, bone. These are sarcomas. And lymphomas, myelomas, and leukemias, they arise from the cells of bone marrow and immune system. Now, how is the diagnosis made? Confirmation of cancerous nature of the lump usually requires a biopsy or removal of the tumor by surgery and is examined by a pathologist. So, excision is done by a surgeon. The surgical margins, the evaluation is done by pathologists. The edge of the tissue removed by the surgeon, and it is then determined. But the pathologist decides whether it is a benign or a malignant mass. Chemotherapy, some terms, these are some terms which are associated with cancer. Chemotherapy is treatment with drugs. Radiation therapy is treatment with the radiations. Adjuvant therapy, that is treatment either chemo or radiation therapy, which is given along with them, given after surgery to kill the remaining cancer cells. Prognosis is the possibility of cure after the therapy. It is usually expressed as probability or survival for 5 years after diagnosis. Alternatively, it can be expressed as the number of years when 50% of the patients are still alive. These are some terms you come across very often. Now, what are the signs and symptoms of cancer metastasis? When they metastasize to brain, you have headaches, seizures, vertigo. Respiratory system, you have cough, hemoptysis, dyspnea. Lymph nodes, you have lymphadenopathy. Liver, you have hepatomegaly and jaundice. And in bones, when they metastasize, pain is there, fractures can be there, spinal cord compression can be there. Local symptoms which are produced, unusual lumps of what they can do is there can be hemorrhage or pain or ulceration. Compression of the surrounding tissue may cause symptoms such as jaundice. Jaundice is caused when the CBD, common bile duct, gets pressed on symptoms of metastasis, that is when they have invaded or metastasized, sorry. Then what you see is enlarged lymph nodes. If it is in the lungs, you can see cough and hemoptysis. If it is in the liver, you find hepatomegaly. If it is in the skeletal system, you find bone pain, fracture of the affected bones. They can be neurological symptoms. Though advanced cancer may cause pain, actually it is usually not the first symptom. Systemic symptoms which can be there can be weight loss, poor appetite, fatigue, cachexia, excessive sweating, night sweats, anemia, and specific paraneoplastic phenomenon. That is specific conditions that are due to an active cancer such as thrombosis or hormonal changes. These are some symptoms which are irrespective of the location of the carcinoma, where irrespective of the organ or location, these are the symptoms which appear. These are called. Now, what are the danger signals of cancer? This is a short note question. Danger signals of cancer comes as a short note very often. A lump or hard area in the breast, a change in water mole. This is very important because a water mole might exist for years, but then suddenly the margin is increasing and the size is increasing very rapidly. In few months it has doubled up or something like that, or the character of the wart has become suddenly, of a small one, it is growing rapidly. Persistent change in bowel habits. So either there can be constipation or diarrhea, and alternating constipation, diarrhea, and also a change in bowel habits. Persistent cough or hoarseness of voice. Persistent cough for which actually no cause can be found, or hoarseness of voice. Excessive blood loss during menstrual period, or loss of blood outside actual date. That is polymenorrhea. They can be menorrhagia, or this thing expected dates is suddenly there are like 10 days or 15 days they might be spotting, or heavy loss of blood also. Then blood loss from any natural offices, a swelling that does not get better, unexplained loss of weight. So these are the danger signals. Basically, these are meant for whom? It is not meant for the doctors, it is meant for the patient, that is for the general public. So these danger signals are, you tell the general public, that any of these things happen to you, don't take it lightly, come immediately to a doctor and get the checkup done. So these are the signals which you make people aware of. All right. Now, clinical staging, TNM system of staging uses the symbol. T is the size of the primary tumor, N is for the extent of local lymph node involvement, and M is for the distant metastasis. TNM stating. The problem statement is, world, cancer diagnosis, or the number of people affected is increasing. It could be either due to the factors leading to actual increase in the number of people getting affected, or it could be also the diagnostic methods have improved and accessibility to healthcare has improved. Worldwide, you have lung cancer going to the top, 12.3%, then breast cancer 10.4%, colorectal. Then death from cancer is again lung cancer has the highest mortality rate, then stomach cancer, then liver cancer. In India, most common in males are mouth or oropharynx, then esophagus, then stomach, then lower respiratory tract. Whereas in females, most common is cervical cancer, then breast cancer, then mouth and oropharynx, then esophagus. And in the world over, the rank in males and females, again males it is lung, then stomach, then colon or rectum, then prostate, then oral, then liver, esophagus, urinary bladder. Whereas in females it is breast, cervix, then colon, rectum, then stomach, then a lung, then oral, then ovary, then body of the uterus. What are the factors which affect? Epidemiological factors. So what are the in epidemiological factors, you all know what are the things: agent, host, and environment. These are the three headings whenever epidemiological factors are discussed. Under these three headings, they are discussed. So agent factors are physical agents like ultraviolet rays, ionizing radiation, cosmic rays, heat. These agents can initiate cancer. Radiologists are 10 times more prone to leukemia than other physicians. Rodent ulcer, which is seen in whites of Australia, are suspected due to they're more sensitive, depigmented. They are fair, so that melanin is very, very less. It is sort of, and the skin is very sensitive. So that, and also predominance of shorter wavelength rays in Australian atmosphere. Oral cancer due to reverse smoking in South India. What they do is they put that chutta, that BD or cigar kind of a rolled up thing which they have. They put the burning end inside the mouth and then they smoke. So that causes local heat. It gives off local heat and then leads to oral cancer. Kangri cancer in Kashmir is due to effect. Kangri, is like a earthen pot in which they put coal, and that keeps on smoldering inside and gives off heat. And this they put, because it's so cold out there, this they put inside their dress, which is a big loose fitting dress which they wear. They firan, they put it underneath and it comes in contact with their skin. So then this that results in Kangri cancer. That thing is called kangri. That pot, earthen pot in which they put coal and keep it next to their skin for warmth, is called kangri. And chemicals like tars, dyes, aromatic amines, uranium, radium, nickel, arsenic, chromium, beryllium, asbestos, azo dyes, and host of other agents have carcinogenic properties. A definite association between exogenous estrogen, which taken as a drug, and development of specific forms of cancer has also been demonstrated. The synthetic estrogens given prenatally are transmitted to the placenta and cause common scale carcinoma vagina and adenocarcinoma vagina in offsprings when they are between 7 and 29 years of age. So it is giving synthetic estrogen when a baby is in utero, especially a girl baby, is not that advisable, because this girl will end up having adenocarcinoma. And conjugated estrogens increase the risk of endometrial cancer 4 to 8 times when administered for treatment of menopausal syndrome. So the hormonal replacement, HRT, hormonal replacement therapy, which is given for menopausal, their conjugated estrogen is given, but that increases their chances of getting endometrial carcinoma. Nutritional deficiency of vitamins, proteins, iodine, addition of dangerous food contaminants, and consumption of alcohol. These are all which are there in the diet. They are known to have deleterious effects and could be carcinogenic. Biological, we have schistosoma hematobium has been associated with cancer bladder. Burkitt lymphoma is associated with Epstein-Barr virus. Human papillomavirus is associated with cancer cervix, hepatitis B with hepatocellular cancer. So when you see the biological factors, what do we see? Another thing is that we have some vaccines which can prevent cancer. So what are those vaccines? We have a HPV vaccine, which can prevent cancer cervix, and hepatitis B vaccine, which can prevent hepatocellular cancer. Now, mechanical factors, chronic friction, irritation, repeated injuries have a carcinogenic effect. Classic example is dhoti cancer. Dhoti cancer is when the dhoti is tied tight in the abdomen so that it doesn't fall off. So gradually that causes a change in the epithelium, and because of this constant friction and irritation. Chronic inflammation in peptic ulcer, ulcerative colitis, and surfacitis also can lead to cancer. Now, host, those were the agents we talked about. Now, the host, age has been seen that increased prevalence. As age increases, cancer has got increased prevalence. Some occur in old age and some in later age. Thus, on a whole, bronchial cancer can occur before 60 years of age, while that of prostatic occurs after 65 years. Breast cancers are more common after middle age, first rising very sharply, and then prevalence continues to rise gradually in later age. So breast cancer, it has got a bimodal appearance, Then cancer of brain shows a high prevalence in younger age group, and leukemia occurs in childhood. So these are some cancers which have got a predilection for younger age group people. Marital status, breast cancer is more common in nulliparous women as compared to parous. Then cervical cancer, cervical cancer is more common in multipara and women with early marriage. Race, white people with fair skin are more prone to skin cancer. Cancer of cervix and uterus occur more commonly among black women than among white women. Genetic influence, genetic has been suspected because cancer cases aggregate in families. Retinoblastoma, mitosis, von Recklinghausen's disease, osteosarcoma, polyposis colon, thyroid neoplasms are some of the conditions which show genetic influence. Philadelphia chromosome is associated with chronic granulocytic leukemia. A rising incidence of cancer is associated with Down syndrome and Klinefelter's syndrome. So these are some genetic associations which are seen. Occupation, there are many cancers which are related to individual exposure to carcinogenic agent in his occupation. Classic example is that of carbon soot associated with cancer scrotum in chimney sweeps, because chimney sweeps had to go into the chimneys with a long brush and sweep it out, and thus they used to get coated with carbon soot, and thus cancer scrotum was seen more in these people. Aniline dye is associated with bladder cancer. Economic status, cancer of stomach, esophagus, and penis are more common among people of low income group. Breast cancer is more common in people of higher socioeconomic status. Customs and habits, many customs and habits are associated with some of the important ones are tobacco chewing. This is one of the customs. Tobacco, betel and lime chewing increases the incidence of cancer of mouth and throat. In this, what happens is most of the times it is the lime which is responsible, which has gotten it erodes the mucosa and irritates the mucosa, and repeatedly when it is done, and on top of it if you put tobacco also, so there is a double whammy, and thus results in oral carcinoma onset very early. And also gutka, even young very people, small children, 5-10-year-old or 12-year-old, they mimic old people and they start taking gutka, and they by the time they reach their 20s they have developed oral carcinoma. So government is bringing in regulation, has brought in regulation actually long time back, banning sale of tobacco, gutka and all. Smoking, again, cigarette, bidi, hookah, pipe smoking are have been related to cancers of lung, pharynx, esophagus, tongue, mouth, tonsils, and so on. One thing is hookah. Somehow people think that taking hookah is safe. It's not, because even though the smoke is coming through some water and that bubbling sound will be there and all, that water is not doing anything to the tobacco content, sorry, the nicotine content in the smoke. So that is going in as usual. So smoking in any form is associated with cancer. Incidence is directly proportional to the severity and length of smoking. Habitual chewing of areca may cause oral cancer due to repeated trauma and friction. Some people, they chew supari, and that supari has got sharp edges and all. So that will cause trauma and friction, and there will be always some kind of inflammation which becomes cancerous later. Alcohol excessive drinking has been shown to have relation with esophagus and cancer, liver. Dietary factors are smoked fish is related to stomach cancer. Dietary fiber, if less of dietary fiber is taken, more of a soft diet is taken, it leads to intestinal cancer. Beef consumption is associated with bowel cancer. A high fat diet is related to breast cancer. Food additives and contaminants also fall under the suspicion as causative agents. Breastfeeding, mothers who breastfeed their infants have less chances of cancer breast. Circumcision reduces the chances of cancer penis as well as cancer cervix in sexual partner. This is because probably below the skin prepuce there will be some organisms which will cause some inflammation, subacute inflammation, and this can turn later into a cancer. Contraceptives, no clear association between oral contraceptives and cancer cervix, though probably it could happen. Early marriage has been associated with cancer cervix, cervical cancer, probably due to prolonged exposure to trauma. Environmental factors, what do we have? Climate, prolonged exposure to sunlight, cosmic rays, UV rays, they act as carcinogenic agent for cancer skin. We talked about rodent ulcer and that cancer in Australians. Then air pollution with industrialization and urbanization, occurrence of lung cancer is more among city dwellers as compared to rural inhabitants. It has been seen. Viruses, we just talked about human papilloma virus, Epstein-Barr virus, hepatitis B and C virus. So what do we have here is HPV causing skin and cervical cancer, Epstein-Barr virus causing lymphoma, cancer nasopharynx, hepatitis B and C virus, hepatocellular carcinoma, HTLV 1 and 2 leukemias, HIV 1 and 2 Kaposi sarcoma, lymphomas. Parasites, schistosomiasis in Middle East is known as a high risk factor in carcinoma of bladder. Radiation leukemias are associated with exposure to radioactive material among X-ray workers and radium watch dial painters. So infection and cancer, Helicobacter pylori, which is in the gastric cancer, which is responsible for gastric cancer. So here you see people with gastric ulcer or gastritis and all. Sometimes they are given treatment to treat Helicobacter pylori. Then hepatitis B and C, this can eventually lead to liver cancer, human papilloma, cervical cancer. Ionizing radiation, what we saw in Hiroshima and Nagasaki and Chernobyl disaster. The after effects are seen even now of the second generation, third generation people who are surviving so far. Studies on population exposed to low doses like nuclear power workers, flight crew, miners, population living around nuclear installations, general population who are exposed to radon. On these also, it has been seen that even exposure to low doses of ionizing radiation can lead to cancers. Screening techniques adopted for some. Now, screening for carcinomas, this can come as a short note, or it can sometimes come as a long question also. So we'll just quickly go over the screening techniques for cancer cervix. Most common one is pap smear. All women should have a pap smear, that is cervical smear, done at the beginning of sexual activity and then every 3 years thereafter. Also cancer cervix, we have the acetic acid this thing which is painted, and then according to that, once it is painted on the surface, the abnormal areas, they show up in a different color, and scraping is done from there, and then it is examined. Cancer lung, chest radiographs, sputum cytology for malignant cells. Oral cancers, you can see oral cancers can be have to be checked by a history and the naked eye examination. After that, if there is any of the risk factors are present and some precancerous lesions are seen, scraping is taken and then checked. What smoking does to your body: you're more likely to have stroke, increases the risk of throat cancer, you may have heart problems such as heart attack, increases the risk of smoker's cough, breathing problems, and lung cancer, increases the risk of cancer in your pancreas, increases the risk of cancer in bladder, intestine, and in kidneys. Baby's health in utero, if a lady smokes, the health of the baby suffers, increased risk of cervical cancer. So you see smoking affects each and every organ of the body. For cancer screening, there is a breast self-examination, palpation by a physician, thermography, mammography. Danger signals in cancer. Danger signals, again, you have to tell the patients that there is a change in the size of breast, a nipple that is pulled in or changed in position or shape, a rash on or around the nipple, discharge from one or both nipples, puckering of the dimple or dimpling of the skin, a lump or thickening in the breast, constant pain in the breast or armpit. These are the some danger signals which immediately a person should come and get examined by a physician. So breast examination is something which should be done by at least every month by each lady. So here examine the breast in the shower, and then also all the danger signals which we talked about have to be checked on the breast. Asymmetry, the border, the color, the diameter, and evolving. These are the things which you see in a mole. Mole is what was a mole suddenly has become asymmetrical, the border has become rough, the color has changed, the diameter has increasing, and it is at various other places the mole is appearing. Sexually transmitted infection with HPV is fundamental to development of carcinoma cervix. HPV prevalence increases with multiple sexual partners and poor genital hygiene. Early age at first sexual contact and multiparity are some other risk factors. So what do we see? CA cervix is associated with early age of marriage, poor socioeconomic status, and people with promiscuity or multiple sexual partners. Chemoprevention of cancers can be done. We have some common agents which can help is micronutrients which will give you like vitamin C, A, B, calcium, zinc, food additives, antioxidants, food molecules, carotenoids, alkaloids, indoles, and pharmaceutical agents, retinoids, NSAID, antiprostaglandins. These can also help. What we have is a national cancer control program. So it has the these following components: control of tobacco-related cancers using a primary prevention approach. This also includes effective anti-tobacco control measures. Early detection, diagnosis, and treatment of cervical and oral cancers, augmentation of therapeutic facilities, research, evaluation of the strategies adopted under the program. So what do we have? We have screening, then we have early diagnosis and treatment of cervical and oral cancers. What are the therapeutic facilities available, augmentation of them, then promoting more research in cancers, and the strategies which have been adopted, they have to be evaluated from time to time. Now, screening is under this program. Screening is done with the hope of a better cure chance when found early. So, this program targets cervical cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, skin cancer, prostate cancer, and childhood cancers. We also have this National Cancer Registry Program. ICMR initiated a network of cancer registries across the country under National Cancer Registry Program in 1981. This move followed the recognition that there was an urgent need for strengthening the existing cancer registries and organization of new cancer registries in different regions of the country. So this program, the cancer registry, okay, this also sometimes comes as a short name, cancer registry. So cancer registry, basically what we have is whatever the cancers which are being reported by the hospitals and health centers and all, they all have to be somewhere noted down, and then a data should be generated. So it is basically to generate reliable data on the magnitude and pattern of cancer which we have in the community. So this would be based on morbidity and mortality rates in different regions of the country, including incidence rates according to sex and age and residence of the patient, anatomical site of the cancer, and proportion of histological type or microscopic conformation for each site. So to undertake the epidemiological studies in the form of case control or cohort study based on the observation of the registry data. You know what are case control or cohort studies? Case control is a retrospective study in which the cases have happened, and then people go back and find out what was the cause, what are the risk factors which were associated with the cases. And a cohort is following up a group of people. We have certain characteristics for which, for example, smokers or people who have taken oral contraceptives or something like that, whatever criteria. So this cohort, a group of people, they are followed up over a period of time to see whether they develop cancer or not. So then provide research base for developing appropriate strategies to aid in National Cancer Control Program, and this would be in the form of planning, monitoring, and evaluation of activities under this program. Develop human resources in cancer registration and epidemiology. Human resources means train more number of people who are already health workers or have a separate course in which people enroll so that they can specialize off in this branch. A cancer registry is a facility, so it records all cancer cases occurring in specified areas. So obviously, area-wise, we will have two types. We have hospital-based registry and population-based registry. Hospital-based registry is basically a live register of all cases diagnosed in hospitals treating cancers in a defined catchment area. So those hospitals are supposed to report, maintain the register, and then give a report that these many cases were seen monthly wise coming from this, and the breakup of all the cases. That and population based registries, they record all cases within a specific geographical area and also take follow-up activities to provide information on mortality and survival pattern in different cancers. So at present, there are 6 population-based cancer registries. So population-based cancer registries, 5 urban and 1 rural, and 5 hospital-based. So cancer registries generate data on cancer in the country under the National Cancer Control Program. So at the end, I'm hurrying through all this because there was no electricity. I thought this might go off any time, but then now electricity has come, but I have rushed through my class, and this is the last part, that is cancer awareness, the ribbon colors which are there. So we have breast cancer, I think you're all aware, we have pink color. Ovarian cancer, we have teal. Lung cancer is clear. Then pancreatic cancer, we have a purple color ribbon. Leukemia cancer, orange ribbon. Melanoma cancer, black. Kidney cancer, Kelly green. Brain disorders and disabilities, silver colored ribbon. Then brain cancer, gray colored ribbon. Gray cells, gray color. Prostate cancer is light blue. Childhood cancer is gold color. Multiple myeloma cancer is burgundy color. Burgundy or maroon kind of a thing. Colon cancer is royal blue. General cancer awareness is lavender. That is cancer awareness. Then esophageal cancer is periwinkle. This is some blue variant of blue color. Lymphoma cancer is lime. Then organ and tissue donations, green. Bladder cancer, yellow. Cervical cancer is white oblique teal. Uterine cancer, peach. Sarcoma, yellow. So we've got one US troops is showing yellow. That is not relevant to us. Sarcoma cancer is yellow, and AIDS, HIV we have got red ribbon, and liver cancer we have got emerald green. So we have got kidney cancer is Kelly green, this one is emerald green, and lymphoma is lime. And then organ and tissue donations is got a green ribbon. So these are various kinds of ribbons which are there. I have rushed through the class so that right at the beginning I told you, but then now the situation has been rectified. I would like to know in case you people have some queries, because this basically again you people have to, that happens, medical education is not about the spoon feeding and you're no more school kids. You have to study and read up the things on your own. You have to. So this also, it's little a longish part in the chapter. Cancer, we have got all the screening for breast cancer, lung cancer, then cervical cancer. All those are in parts there. You have some question? You want to ask? You want to ask anything? The microphone is on for these people, but then nobody's talking. Nobody's saying anything. Okay, roll number 10. Roll number 15. Roll number 20. You people
Yes,
are not
ma'am.
there. Roll
Yes,
number
ma'am.
20. Okay. 25.
Yes, ma'am.
You're 25.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
Abhishek.
25.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
26.
Yes, ma'am.
Usharani.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then 30. 30 is there. 10 Ankush Malik. You didn't respond. You're